From the Fox River in Aurora, Illinois, where riverboat personnel sing Blow the Man Down on the quarter hours, Hollywood Casino presents On the Air with Mike North. Tonight's guest, wrestling legend Bobby the Brain Heenan. And now, your host, the award-winning Score Radio's Monster of the Midday, a man who would like to put some of the team owners in sleeper holds.
Hey, what's up, buddy? What's up, my sweetheart? Hey, Mom. All right. What's up? That's it. All right. Hey, I'm Mike North. Yeah. Woo. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hey, I'm Mike North from the Score Sports Radio 1160. We're live from Hollywood Casino Aurora here on Sports Channel. Say hello to John Shaky Suntress.
Thank you. How are you, Mike?
Shaky.
Mikey?
As everybody may or may not know, this is our last show at Hollywood Casino.
Yes.
It's been 30 weeks of fun, John.
Hilarious.
A good time.
Yes, it has.
It has been a good time. And instead of doing our usual banter that we do before we bring our guest on, first of all, I'd like to come over and give you a hug.
All right, watching.
Thank you for everything. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Kiss me,
buddy.
too. Wow.
There you go.
I'm all
give him
set
a
tonight.
hand. Give
Thank
John Shaky Suntress a hand.
Thank you very much.
We're going to do something different. We're going to bring up everybody who made the show possible. I don't want to do this at the end because you rush through things, and I really believe this is important. This was something that we really loved here. It was a good time. It was 30 great weeks. It really was. First, I want to introduce the Vice President of Casino Marketing, a guy who I sat down with about, I would say almost a year ago at Gianotti's restaurant out here in Oak Brook. We decided to do this show. Everything we said came true. It was outstanding. Please give a hand to Vic Castillo. Vic, come on. Come here, Vic. Thank you so much. Come on up here. Thanks, Vic. Watch yourself. Don't hurt yourself. And if the microphone gets jostled or something, that's the way it goes, right, Vic? Next, this guy is a casino marketing executive. He is the guy that's taking really good care of us along with Vic. Nick Manzi. Nick. Look at him. Nicky. Come here, you. Thank you, buddy.
Gonna miss you.
We're going to miss you too, buddy. We're going to miss you. We also want to give a lot of credit to a lady that's in the audience, Randy Mondell, who's in charge of casino marketing and also special events. So, Randy, congratulations. You did a great job. You really did. There she is, way back there hiding. I wrote all this stuff down because I didn't want to forget anybody. The guy who we met with at my home about, 8 months ago, we talked about it. Could we put this together? He's a great guy. He's the producer of the show, James Potter. Jimmy, look at my guy. Come on over here, Jimmy. Thanks, Jimmy. Come on over here. Don't fall down. Set the table this way tonight. You know what I'm saying? One of my best friends, in fact, he is my best friend as far as working together, having fun together, hanging out together. He's the talent coordinator. This is the guy who's brought in Will Chamberlain, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Walter Payton, Harry Carey, Mike Ditka. You name it. This guy's the best radio producer by far in the country. He's the best talent coordinator any TV show could have, especially it's a show like this. I mean, outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse, the little guy Rogers. Where you at, Jess? Come here. That's it, buddy. All right, buddy. Who could? These shows have been great, but what's made them great is the banter going to and from this place and also the stuff with the audience. One of the best people, one of the greatest people, Jerry Riles, our stage manager. Come here, Jerry. All right, buddy, give me a kiss. Come here. Give me a kiss. All right. You're the man. We'd also like to thank Video Impressions. We'd like to thank Sports Channel. Video Impressions did a great job with the show here. They just did an outstanding job. Sports Channel ran us 3 days a week. You can't ask for anything more than that. And Jeff Schwartz, who was the guy that was the executive schmoozer, was the guy that really did a lot of work with Vic and Nick. He couldn't be here tonight. He's got an illness right now that he's attending to in the family. We'd like to thank Jeff Schwartz. But last but not least, the one person who put this show together, she's the executive producer. She got this whole thing together. She's the smartest person I've ever known. She's talented. She's bright. She's beautiful. And yes, she's my wife. I'm very lucky. Bebe North. Bebe, come here. Make some room. Okay. So this is it. We appreciate everybody coming out. We're going to be back with Bobby the Brain Heenan right after this at Hollywood Casino. Okay. Yeah, back after this. All right, we're back at Hollywood Casino in beautiful Aurora, Illinois. Live on Sports Channel and all the satellite feeds around the country. This guy, I can remember watching. I don't want to date this guy too much. I don't want to make him feel too old, but I was watching wrestling in 1965, 66. And I used to watch the wrestling matches and say, get over with them, because the interviews were the best. And this guy made the interviews great. Ladies and gentlemen, he used to be known as the Pretty Boy. Right now, he's known as Bobby the Brain Heenan. Oh, did you have trouble getting out of the curtain?
How'd you get him here? Did you promise free cheese?
I told him that, exactly. Well, first of all, you know what? I was reading your bio. 1965, you broke into the business, and you tell me you're 52. So you broke in. I'm going to just figure this out real quick. You're a 20-year-old manager and wrestler, right?
You work for H&R Block, don't you? He's that quick.
20
years old.
Now, everybody thinks that, wrestling right now, which is in its prime, was always like that. But there were the tough times. I mean, I can imagine in 65, 66, it wasn't the busiest or most prosperous time in wrestling.
Well, you have to understand, television production isn't like it is now. And in 1965, until almost the 80s, everything was shot out of studios. Where you'd have like 25, 50 people, and they'd sit there every Saturday morning, and you'd tape your show at 10 o'clock, you'd do your interviews, and you'd get on a plane and go to some place and get in a car and wrestle that night. And in a place in Pittsburgh, they had like 10 ringside seats. And that was all that showed up. But they had a black backdrop like that, but they had faces painted on it. So it looked like there was 100 people in the place.
You know what? The thing that I loved was, forget about the wrestling. I mean, it was cool, the acrobatics and everything else. And I just found this out today, Bobby. I'm a little shocked. A lot of people are accusing wrestling of being fake. Come on.
No.
Yes. Yes. Come on, I'm sorry. Somebody tried to accuse you wrestling of that. But forget about it.
There's a lot of people at the Bulls game, too.
That's exactly right.
Rodman's got blonde hair.
And isn't that what he's getting this from? Isn't that where he thought of all this? Because wrestlers are the true guys. Before Kiss, the rock band, before Dennis Rodman, the guys who painted their faces, the guys who wore the mask, the guys who entertained were pro wrestlers.
Sure, Muhammad Ali, when he first started talking, everybody called him the Mouth. He got that from Gorgeous George. He realized that sometimes they'll give you an interview, like 2 minutes, they'll tell you ABC, or on a wrestling show, Mike, you have a minute interview. Right. You're wrestling me Thursday night at the Armory. Now you got a minute to sell your product.
Right.
And that's what you do. That's when you get out there and you say whatever you want to say. You can say whatever you want to say. You can't swear or talk about death, but you can say just about whatever you want to say. And no one's going to get on your case. You don't have a boss at work like at Sears or like at Penny's or something like that.
Right.
And that's what Muhammad Ali did. He realized he had to market himself.
And he did that very well, and you guys did it very well. But let me ask you now, as far as the wrestling was concerned, I couldn't wait for the actual match to get over, because what I think made wrestling great here in Chicago, where you were at, along with places in Minnesota, Indianapolis, was the interviews.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is what really sold wrestling. Forget about seeing Kenny J, wrestle Paul Christie. I couldn't wait for the damn match to get over so you and Blackjack Lanza and Blackjack Mulligan could get up and sell the product.
Well, that was the fun part about doing it. You got to talk and you got to say what you wanted to say and have fun doing it. But that's what the people liked. They liked the interviews. The people always liked that.
Now, let me ask you something. Let me ask you about where some of the older wrestlers are. We're going to talk about the WCW a little bit later in the show, but let's talk about the wrestlers that you had contact with in the past. Blackjack Lanza. What's Blackjack Lanza doing right now?
Blackjack Lanza is working for the World Wrestling Federation. He's a road agent.
Okay, and Blackjack Mulligan.
Mulligan's retired. He's living in Florida, I understand. I haven't talked to him for years.
Okay, Mitsu Arakawa.
Mitsu Arakawa just passed away in San Francisco.
Sorry to hear about that, because he was an entertainer along with Dr. Moto. Dick the Bruiser passed away, and the Crusher, we know, passed away.
No, Crusher didn't.
He did not pass away?
No, Crusher's still living in Milwaukee.
Really?
Yeah. He's
carrying the beer barrel?
Well, it's like a six-pack now, but it's the same thing almost. And it's light beer.
And it's light beer. And Butcher and Mad Dog Vachon.
Well, there is some pet clinic right now being neutered, probably. And they should have been 25 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll be back with Bobby Heenan. More Bobby the Brain Heenan live on Sports Channel in a minute. Back after this. Live from Hollywood Casino, Mike North with the fabulous Bobby the Brain Heenan. Now, when you first came on, you were Pretty Boy Bobby Heenan. And then you became Bobby Heenan the Weasel. And now you're the Brain. Now, who anoints you all these names? Did you give yourself these names, or did somebody else give you
Well,
these
first
names?
of all, when I started out as Pretty Boy Bobby Heenan, that was a name it
made
rolled.
sense.
It rolled, yeah, and it rolled. And I was awful cute then. And cuter now. And then the Weasel, that was a name Crusher gave me, which was never nice because I don't have paws or a tail, and I don't jump into a chicken coop at night and kill animals. And the Brain, they gave me that name because that was the only organ we could say on TV in those days.
Right.
But no, the reason was because I cut some big business deals for Andre the Giant and I. Wrestled Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 in Pontiac Silverdome and had 93,000 people. It's the biggest wrestling indoor attendance in the history of
Could you
wrestling.
believe it? After all
No.
the years of driving in your car, going from place to place, showing up at venues with maybe 20,000 or maybe even 5,000, 10,000, 90,000.
100 people. We've been places like that.
Right.
We wrestled at fairs where we had to wash with a cold hose and hose ourselves down to get in the car and drive back. Oh, it was different in those days. It was a lot different. Television changed everything.
Television changed everything. And
Cable did.
Right, and Vince McMahon was the brainchild with the WWF. Now, as what happens with a lot of things, people end up leaving the organizations. I'm sure some leave bitterly, some don't. How did you leave Vince McMahon? Are you on good terms with Vince McMahon because now you're with the WCW?
I don't talk to Vince McMahon, and it's not because I don't like the man. I just have no dealings with him. I work for another organization. I left WWF because I was tired of going to New York and traveling and being in a city and a state where it's in the United States of America, but nobody speaks English. I was very tired of that. And I got tired of the schedule, and I live in Tampa, Florida now, and I wanted to be in the South more. And one of my contract, I didn't want to renew it. Gorilla Monsoon threw me out that night out of White Plains, New York, out of the building. So I just walked away from it and said, fine, I'll just go someplace else.
Okay, now you're with the WCW. Tell us about this New World Order and everything else that's going on. Tell us about this whole deal now. Yeah, because you're doing mainly announcing now. You don't do any more managing.
No.
You don't do any more wrestling, thank God.
No.
I mean, you know, you get to wrestle once in a while.
Well, occasionally there was a maid today on the third floor, but she was from Guam and it didn't matter. But no, what'd you ask me?
I asked you about the WCW, the New World Order, everything that's going on now.
Well, what's happened is we didn't know it at the time, but Eric Bischoff was executive. He was the president of WCW, and he was also doing the play-by-play with me on Nitro. I was doing the color commentary. There's a difference. Play-by-play guy calls the action. The color commentary guy picks up the slack, and Eric Bischoff was doing that. And all of a sudden, this New World Order came around with Hulk Hogan and Nash and Hall and all these other guys. And then we found out later that Eric Bischoff was behind all this, and he wanted to overthrow WCW.
Okay.
He'd cut all these big super deals, I guess, with people at WCW, but was working behind their backs. So that's basically what happened.
Let's talk about your family now. I mean, you said you live in Tampa. Are you married? Do you have kids? What's going on?
I have a very successful marriage. I've been married 8 times. No, I have a wife and a daughter.
What's your daughter's name?
Her daughter's name is Earl.
And
No, her name is Jessica.
And how old is she?
She's 18, we think.
Oh, man. So you are an older guy now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And she seems like my daughter. I mean, she brings the milk in.
How often do you see your family, I mean, when you're on the road?
Oh, I'm home 5 days a week. Yeah.
What do you do when you're at home? What is a Bobby the Brain eat? I mean, you walk around your old wrestling outfit and watch TV?
No, I don't have
Do
any.
you have like, is your like front room roped off like a ring? Do you have like a lounge chair?
No, I have lockers and about 60 naked guys in there bending over looking for soap. What do you think my house is like?
It's a nice house, right?
Yeah,
Do you have
it's
a
just
fabulous estate?
It's a nice estate. It's got wheels and it hooks up to a Pinto, and we can go all over the country with it. But no, it's real nice, and you know, we have a pool if you don't flush it. You know, a lot of nice things.
We're going to be back with more.
What do you think I live on Skid Row?
After this, Bobby the Brain. We're back at Hollywood Casino. Mike North with Bobbyheenan. And Bobby, was there ever a time that you wanted to get out of the business? You've been in since 1965. And if you would have gotten out of the business, what do you think you'd be doing?
In 1983, I broke my neck in Japan, and I didn't know I broke my neck.
Was that in the ring?
Yes.
Okay.
And a man came off the top rope, and he dropped the leg across my chin and took my head that way. And if you can see here, I have nerve damage in my hand. Mm-hmm. I've had 2 discs taken out of my neck, 2 bones out of my hip put in. I broke my collarbone, and I didn't know I broke it all. I thought I'd pinched a nerve, and I kept on wrestling until 1991.
Okay.
And eventually I just said, I'm hurting too much to do this anymore. It's not fun anymore. I don't have the desire anymore to go out there.
Right.
I want to do TV.
Okay.
I want to sit down and talk. I want to make a lot of money like you and do nothing. And that's what I always want to do. But no, I get tired of being hurt. And that's
now, if they decided, not to do the TV with you, what do you think you would have done? Because you have a lot of money apparently banked up. You pull in probably $2 million a year.
No, I'm subsidizing an orphanage in Guam right now, and if people want to pass some cash later, you won't offend me.
Right.
What would I have done? I would have been in television somehow. I want to do commercials. That's what I want to do.
You'd be a good commercial spokesman. I mean, you got anything going in Chicago?
Nothing, and I've been here on TV 35 years.
Let me ask you something. If somebody wanted to get a hold of Bobbyheenan to do commercials, is there a number that they could call? Because I got to believe there's companies out there that would love for you to be a commercial spokesman.
Well,
Can I put you on the spot? No, you don't want to give out your home number.
No, I can't do that, but I'm between agents right now. Okay. And if I give the number at WCW, it would maybe take a yield to get the mail.
Why does the Brain, the top manager, the guy who cut millions of deals, need an agent, need a guy to cut a deal for him? Why can't you cut your own deal? You've been cutting them for everybody else for 30 years.
Why does a barber have somebody else cut his hair?
Wow,
because you don't see the back. You don't see the back.
Good comeback. I thought I had you. I thought I had you.
So did a girl named Laverne once. And she was right.
Yeah. Let me ask you now, as far as what's ahead for you? I mean, how long do you want to do this? Apparently you do TV till you're in your 70s, but I could imagine.
George Burns talked till he was 100.
So you love it so much that you do it forever.
Yeah, I really do. I enjoy the television end of it. I don't mind the travel because I don't travel that much. I travel like 3 or 4 days a week. I just enjoy the people. I did nothing. You sit home. What would you do? Play golf? If you shoot a 70 or 110, you still got to take the garbage out. Doesn't matter what you do.
That's exactly right.
You play in the sand. I'm not a cat. All you want is good hits. A cigar and a drink. Boom, you're gone.
That's exactly right. Now, as far as the people in the business, the wrestlers in the business, and this is, right on the record, who was the one guy you really loved that you couldn't wait to see, hang out with, and who's the guy you couldn't stand?
Blackjack Lanza was he's my best friend.
Was he the guy that basically, I mean, you two guys, as soon as you two guys got together, things started happening?
Yeah.
Because he was so good at what he did.
We just always hit it off as good friends.
And he had chemistry.
Yeah, and that was what was good about the thing. We just got along good together. And the man I probably disliked the most is Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It goes back to 1979 in Georgia, and I can't really say what I want to say because of legal things, and I don't know what he would do to me if I said why we did these things. It had to do with business and stuff. Mm-hmm. But he's no good.
No good at all?
He's no good at all.
There's a lot of kids that are going to be watching this show that love the Hulkster.
Well, then reach up with your little hands and turn it off.
Oh! Do you think it's like in baseball?
I don't mean our show, I mean this show.
Take it easy.
We're down the toilet anyway.
Well, take it easy. What's the matter with
30 of these things.
Come on.
Done.
Now let me ask you about, as far as the older wrestlers compared to the wrestlers today. Give me the differences. Bigger, better shape, is that the deal?
Oh, there's no comparison. The wrestlers, when I started in the 60s, were a lot of the guys that came from the 50s, like Dick the Bruiser, Crusher, Johnny Valentine, Gene Kiniski, Pat O'Connor, all those names. They were wrestlers.
Okay.
They were wrestlers. Right. They got on that mat and they wrestled you, or a bruiser kicked you in the head.
Today, there doesn't seem to be a lot of rolling around anymore.
No. Today you got guys when I started, a 250-pound guy was a big guy. Now a 310-pound guy is an average guy driving the Alamo bus here at the airport. Just an average guy.
Right.
So now these guys have learned to wrestle a little bit, plus they've also learned acrobatics, plus they've also learned they don't care about their bodies.
Is there a jealousy, like with the Major League Baseball players who played in the 40s, 50s, and 60s? They look at what the players are making today. They go, man, come on. These guys couldn't do what we did, and they're making all this money. Is there that jealousy with the wrestlers from yesterday with the guys today?
I would imagine there is. There's more jealousy right now in the wrestling group.
Egos.
Egos. There's more egos right now than there was guys saying. When I started in '65, I wasn't. In the '70s, wasn't compared to. Wouldn't even care what the guys made in the '60s.
Right.
I had my run. I had a good run. I had a good run in the '80s. I had a good run in the '90s. I still having a good run. I don't care about anything.
Right.
I don't have sour grapes. I got out of this without being paralyzed. I'm sitting here on your show for Zip, and I haven't made a step, have I?
You're going to get some cigars today.
And I don't smoke.
That's right. Well, you give them to somebody as a gift. I'll tell you what, we'll be back with Bobbyheenan right after these messages live at Hollywood Casino. Hey, I'm with Tino Antonacci, the owner of my favorite place, Basta Pasta. How you doing, Tino?
How are you doing?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how I'm doing. I'm hungry. Let's start eating. Hey, how about some calamari? Come on, try this. Come on. You like that?
Have a little sausage, Mike.
Sausage?
There you go.
Oh, you know what? I like the toasted raviolis. Come on, try that. Good? Remember, if you like pasta,
You'll love.
Basta Pasta in Edison Park. They just reel off an 18-yard run. He goes, oh, that's a break for the Packers, and it's offsetting. No, it isn't, knucklehead. They gained
Same score station, new score location, now 24 hours a day. The Score, Sports Radio 1160.
Clothes for Mr. North and Mr. Centris, courtesy of Your Direct Fine Men's Clothing in Bensonville. Travel provided by Tower Tickets. For all your entertainment ticket needs, here, there, and everywhere. 312-454-1300.
Yeah!
I get $50 for this.
Back at Hollywood Casino.
I'm going to get my money now, right?
You're going to get some dough. We'll buy you a dinner or something. Hey, what do you got coming up?
I like White Castle. Huh?
What do you got coming up? You like White Castle? Everybody does. Best laxative.
The aluminum room.
Great laxative. Really, there's nothing better.
I love a great laxative on the road.
Isn't that great?
In a wooden box, yeah.
What do you got coming up?
We got Nitro coming here to Chicago on the 16th of June at the United Center.
All the guys going to be here, right?
I imagine everybody from the NWO, everybody from WCW. We had a Nitro here in January, and we had almost 20,000 people. It was a tremendous event. And you know, Chicago's where wrestling started.
That's right.
You know why the Dumont Network put wrestling on? Is because wrestling had an audience and it had lights.
Okay.
They didn't have to bring in lights. They didn't have to do anything. They already had people there.
Right.
And they started it at Rainbow Arena on Clark Street, and they had over at the Marigold over off Broadway.
Broadway and Grace, right.
And I was 10 years old. I went there, and I watched the matches.
How did you get into this deal? What happened?
I gave the guy $3. I walked in.
Come on! I'm talking about his manager.
Oh, well.
Did you go to the wrestling school and stuff like that?
No. What happened? I went and watched to the Marigold with a wrestler named Zach Melkoff. They lived in the apartment building we lived in. And he took me there, and I just got hooked on it. It's like some people watch auto racing or baseball or Dahmers. They just get hooked on stuff. So, you're listening.
There you go.
That's how I make sure that you're listening. So what happened was when I went to Indianapolis, and Dick the Bruiser started me. And after Dick the Bruiser started me, he wanted a huge percent of my money and tried to treat me like crap. So that's why I just went the other way against him.
Well, you know what, Bobby? I tell you, it's because of guys like you that we've continued to follow wrestling. I mean, there's some guys that
thank you.
Really span the time, and you have been one of the guys, and we really appreciate you coming out to Hollywood Casino tonight. You were outstanding. Bobby the Brain Heenan! Hey! We've had a great run at Hollywood Casino. I want to thank my family for supporting me out here, my mom and all my aunts and everybody who came out to watch. Thanks for everybody for supporting us. We'll see you in a little bit. Take care.
Can I keep the ashtray?
You got it. Go off with
the ashtray.
Tonight's guest will receive a box of cigars from Goodfellas Cigar Shop in Chicago, a gift certificate from world-famous Henry K. Jewelers in Watertower, a Dikembe Mutombo set of foot-long finger cuffs, a 20-inch Mitsubishi TV from Little Guys Home Electronics in Glenwood, dinner for two at Basta Pasta at Edison Park, a Doug Rader ready-to-sign ballpoint pen, a gift certificate from Your Direct Fine Men's Clothing in Bensonville, and a 5-minute commentary session with Jerry Springer. Transportation for our guests provided by Van Gogh Limousine Service. More than just a ride. This has been a Licorice Limited production.